You have fire in your gut? Okay, we're here for a reason to win games. So if you didn't have that fire in your gut, you better light the fire pretty fast.
Welcome back to the latest greatest episode of the 7 Points Podcast. My name is Jayden May, joined as always by my co-host Quentin Crisco, breaking down another week of NFL and college. How are we doing tonight, Quentin?
Got the monkey off my back, man. Got the monkey off my back. Like, it has been a rough few weeks as an NFL bettor. And you know what? 4-3, I'll take it. I'll take a win anywhere I can get it right now. Up 1.6 units, hit my 2-unit play. I'm feeling good about it. We're back. Scoring is back in the NFL. It's a good time to be alive.
I went undefeated on my bets last week.
Yeah, you did. Up 3.6 units, 4-0 and 2.
And 2. Yep. Yeah, it was funny. I had the under in the London game, and it was a push, and we accidentally put out the over. So
yeah,
it wouldn't have mattered either way.
Yeah, but that worked out. Actually, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but yeah, a crazy weekend for college football. Favorites getting dominated everywhere in college football. It was one of those slates that you were like, if you got stuff on the calendar with the kids or the wife, or got things to do around the house or around town, like that was a good weekend to do it. And then starts the day off with A&M beating number 10 Missouri, which they were favored in that game. So not too big of an upset.
They took him to the woodshed, man.
Yeah, but yeah, not too big of an upset, but I think it was a 2-point spread, and they just beat the shit out of them.
I had Mizzou in that game. Like they
I had Mizzou in that game.
I haven't showed my face in public since then.
Yeah, and then we had Vanderbilt taking down Alabama right after they beat Georgia. Tennessee losing to a terrible Arkansas team that somehow keeps finding a way to win. We had Miami for the second week in a row almost below it, and they just keep getting away with it. I'm starting to become suspect of Miami. I got my eye on them. I think Clemson's gonna destroy them when they play.
So like, we're Texas Tech guys, and Texas Tech kicked off at 11 Eastern, 10 Central. So they were on par with that Miami game on timing.
Yeah.
And that game couldn't even keep me awake. Like, the Tech game couldn't keep me awake, and neither could the Miami. It was like the Miami game wasn't even like,
they both
I gotta
up
stay up because these two games they care about are going on. It was just like, screw this, I'm going to bed. And then I wake up and I'm like, Miami won? They were down like 3 scores with 8 minutes.
Yeah, what, 35-10 at halftime?
Yeah, just ludicrous.
Yeah. Oh, man. And so apparently there were some questionable calls there late in the game by the referees, a little bit of home or conference cooking. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're just trying to protect their cash cow right now, because I think the ACC is terrified if Miami's bad. Everybody was talking about the Big 12 maybe not deserving a seat for a first-round bye. But if Miami drops a couple of games and then Miami then beats Clemson, I mean, you're looking at maybe an SMU champion who lost to BYU. Yeah, Big 12 don't look so bad now, does it, bitches?
SMU's look pretty damn good themselves, though.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But, I mean, their only loss, BYU, baby.
BYU, Big 12 legends, BYU.
Stormin' Mormons with
the
Jewish quarterback.
It's something up there, man. It's something. But you want to get into the NFL slate, or anything else you want to talk through that's happened this week?
So Cowboys are in shambles, but somehow we dominated that game in every way except the scoreboard. So I'm just happy to get the win, get out of there. First time Mike McCarthy had ever beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, lost to him in the Super Bowl. So
he's from Pittsburgh too, just outside
of
Pittsburgh.
Yep. Philadelphia, basically, some would say. Yeah, but
yeah, it's like someone from Abilene. They're from Dallas, right?
Yeah, or somebody from Houston. It's like, oh yeah, we just want to run up to Lubbock real quick. It's both in Texas.
Yeah, easy
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah, your Bears, Caleb Williams,
Looking
he's
good.
good. We
Looking
told
good.
you.
He has gotten better just about every way you can dice it every single week, which
Also,
defenses have gotten easier, but like things are looking really nice for him. You can see it on tape. He's really progressing very fast.
also, DJ Moore might just be a dog. Maybe he's not a dickhead. Maybe he's just the same whether he's getting 2 touchdowns and 10 targets or he's not getting targets. Maybe he just likes to kind of sit by himself sometimes and not show a whole lot of expression. Crazy thing to think about that an NFL guy who's probably been hyper focused his entire career to getting to that point maybe sometimes doesn't show a whole lot of emotion and maybe he's not pissed off.
He was frustrated. He was frustrated. I think everyone on the offense was frustrated. Like that's fair. They looked like
Yeah.
crap for a little bit there.
Well,
But
they still need a new offensive coordinator, but that's about all I had. I mean, we had some historic performances. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Kirk O'Chain's 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Just an incredible performance on Thursday Night Football. One of the best Thursday Night Football games we've had in a long time. Sam Darnold just keeps going out there and getting it done. 3 interceptions as they just bury the Jets. Jets fire Aaron Rodgers, coach Robert Salah.
did Salah and Darnold ever overlap? I don't think so, right? It was all like Zach Wilson, right?
God, Zach Wilson, number 2 overall pick, Sam Darnold, number 2 overall pick. I can't imagine there's much overlap there.
Yeah, I think it was all Wilson for Salah, but he's gone. He's out of the
Yeah,
Windy
he's out of
City,
there.
as you would say.
Yeah, the city of sisterly love is what they call New Jersey, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, the Big Apple, some would say, New Jersey. But yeah, incredible game. Just a great weekend overall, man. We both won. Feels good to be 3-2. I don't know how you feel, but it's like we probably shouldn't be 3-2, but I'll take 3-2. But at the same time, we probably should have beat the Saints and we could have beat Baltimore. So it's like, well, we could be 5-0. So I don't know. Just
My
happy to be
season
where I'm at.
my season prediction for the Bears is perfect so far. I like my preseason prediction. I went game by game. I had them at 3-2 here. I had them winning the games they won and losing the games they lost. So like I'm exactly where I thought they would be.
Well, what are we thinking for the rest of the season if you just predicted the whole schedule? Pull it up.
Let's see.
See where we're at, Bears fans.
It's going to take me a minute to get
Oh,
there.
you don't
It's
have
an
it on
article
hand.
I'm talking about.
I thought you were talking about our season predictions.
It was probably the same. I might have gotten a little spicier with ours just because you tend to get me hyped up about the Bears more than I typically would. But
I love the Bears. Well, I can get started on Thursday Night Football while you find it.
yeah,
I kind of want to see both of our season predictions. We ought to do that in a couple of weeks and just see where we're at because, I mean, I'm pretty sure Washington's already over their win total we gave them, and maybe
Probably.
the Vikings too.
Vikings, Washington, and I mean, I had the Bengals with a lot of wins, and that is not looking good right now.
I think you had the Bengals with less losses than they currently have.
Yeah.
I think they were 14-3 in yours.
Oh, they're coming back. They're not losing the game the rest of the way. Heard it here first.
They would still not go 14-3. But well, we'll start out with the Thursday night game where we have the 49ers going. Are they going to Seattle? Is that what's going on here?
Yes, sir.
Going to Seattle. Seattle is 3.5-point underdogs with a 47.5-point total. So I'm not betting this game because I don't know what to think about Geno Smith. He's so volatile in his starts. The 49ers have not looked fantastic, but it looks like they're getting that offense kind of put together with no CMC. I mean, Brandon Ayuk's finally getting in the mix after a slow start. Kittle was back doing his thing. They lost a close game to the Arizona Cardinals. So, I mean, This is a tough game to judge on a short week, but I would probably take the better coach in this situation and take the 49ers if I had to. But yeah, I'm not touching this one. What are you thinking?
Want nothing to do with it. I mean, the 49ers, I feel like would be my lean here and I mean, for the record, the model is taking Seattle plus 3.5 on this, but I'm leaning towards San Fran after, losing in a game that most people thought they should have won last week. That, I mean, we both bet Cardinals. I think I'd still say I expected the 49ers to win. I expected the Cardinals to cover. And the 49ers flat out lost that game against the Cardinals.
Yeah. I mean, Kyler, that opening 50-yard run, it was like, whoo, they got some life. And then 49ers kind of came back. But that was the crazy thing is the 49ers came back, took a commanding lead, and still let the Cardinals come back and beat them.
Yeah. It feels weird in San Fran this year right now. Like they've lost a few games that they should not have lost talent-wise. So I don't know what to think there, and that's why I'm staying away. And the Seahawks, I feel like, might be one of the most volatile teams in the NFL right now. Of like they could be anything any given week. And let me ask you this: it sure looked to me like a defensive tackle was holding the long snapper down to make sure he couldn't make contact with the guy jumping over him, and that has to be a flag.
I thought that was the Giants game.
Giants Seahawks.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Sorry, yeah, I didn't transition that, but like,
yeah.
How was that not a flag?
I forgot that they played the Seahawks. Yeah, well, it had to be just missed.
Yeah, I guess no one saw it because it was like
I don't think you're allowed to even touch the center.
No, you're the long snapper. I don't think you're allowed to touch him until he comes off the ball, like until he's like a yard off the line or something.
And that's more of a rule for punts because, I mean, field goals are so quick that, but I was watching Red Zone. We only had one TV at the house we had. So, and I was with all my cousins and everything. So I didn't get to watch everything too closely. Yeah. I remember when you texted me about it and I didn't see it, but I mean, to my knowledge, you're not allowed to touch the center.
Right.
And I know you can jump, and if you don't touch anybody, you're good. But you can't make contact on your leap at all.
Right. So like if you're gonna take, like, it feels like a safety issue to me of like it's against the heart of the rule to say if they jump, they can't touch them, but your defensive tackles can hold them down to make sure they can't rise up. Like that feels like a safety issue in itself of like if that's not being called, every team's gonna start doing that. Like, I mean, what's the point of not doing it?
Even if you didn't do it on the long snapper, if you just did it to the guard.
Yeah, they did it to the guard. I mean, Dexter Lawrence was on top of that guard. But at that point, it's like with the guard, at least it's like, well, you don't want it to happen. Don't let him do it, But like the long snapper, they're in a vulnerable position to start. Yeah.
Well, I guess they technically are, but I mean, if you get your long snapper ever playing any meaningful snaps outside of long snapping, you might be in trouble.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I didn't see it, but that just seems like an oversight or something that was missed.
And for what also on this game, back to the bets, the model likes the over at 47.5. So take that for what you will.
I kind of like the over too. Hopefully we'll have, I think Kittle stayed healthy that game. So as long as
Ayuk started to click last week, like missing all training camp has
10, 11 catches, something like that.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting. I mean,
I think I like the over in that. Actually, if I'm going to bet anything in this game, it's probably the over.
Yeah, I was telling you before we started, I like the over. What is 49ers? Are they 2-3?
I think so. I mean, they got to start winning some games, man.
Yeah. No. Yeah. 49ers are 2-3. 49ers lose this game. I mean, I know
they got the Chiefs, Cowboys, bye, Buccaneers, Seahawks again, Packers, Bills, Bears, Rams. like they don't have another like
I
game
know,
where
I
it's
know
like,
that,
okay, that's an
yeah,
easy game until Miami in week 16.
yeah. I know they've started slow in the past, but I mean, 2-4 seems pretty hard to come back from. But at least nobody in that division is really running away from it either. So I mean, they could weasel their way into 9-8, 10-7, and probably be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, you're probably lost all hope of a 1 seed if they lose this game.
Yeah, I mean, winning the division, because like I mean, then you're a few games behind the Seahawks at that point. Like,
Yeah, but I don't trust the Seahawks either.
that's true.
But
That's true.
but I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, you definitely don't want to be behind the 8 ball there. But as far as the division goes, I mean, I think they'd have to be about 4 games back with 10 left to play, or with like 8 left to play for me to really be like, oh,
Oh man,
they're not a threat for that division.
I'm just sitting here talking myself into Seahawks money line. I'm not going to do it, but like, I don't, like Mike McDonald runs a sick defense there. He's got a lot of talent, some good talent on that D line, and some real talent in the cornerback room as well. Like they have the pieces to hurt the 49ers offense, I think, and
Yeah.
they have the weapons to attack a defense for the 49ers that hasn't looked as good. Like I'm not going to take it. I'm not even going to take them to cover, but like,
so
I can envision it.
Here's an interesting thought exercise. So I mean, Brock Purdy hasn't been playing bad. He's been playing pretty solid.
I think he's playing the best ball of his career. Honestly.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I was going to say.
Numbers aren't there, but like what he's actually doing on the field is really good.
That's what I was going to say. So if he keeps playing like this, he's playing good football right now, but they end up going 7-10. Do they still give him the contract at the end of the year?
I think so.
At 7-10?
Yeah, they go get Robert Salah back, and then they're like, okay, we're back.
But 7-10
rolling again.
7-10, you're also in the mix for a quarterback.
So, I mean, kind of a quarterback in a class that is pretty weak.
Depends on who you ask.
I mean, they're
a lot of people.
They're
like
10th in the league in scoring and 2nd in the league in yards right now. Like, I don't think the offense is the issue. I think the defense has been the issue.
But I mean, they've pulled the trigger quicker in the past.
They have. I mean, maybe they'll take another Mr. Irrelevant. Like, you're right. It's Kyle Shanahan. He doesn't need the best quarterback. He just needs the right quarterback.
So, like, let's say they go 7-10. And who's the first quarterback off the board? Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, Shadir Sanders.
Probably Ewers. I don't know. Ewers' injury concerns have to be an issue at this point. I mean,
but
probably Carson Beck. I don't even like Carson Beck that much, but probably Carson Beck.
I don't either. There's probably going to be at least 1 or 2 guys that pop.
And Carson Beck probably is the more Shanahan fit. Like that's probably more his guy.
Is anybody going to fall in love with Cam Ward enough to go up for him? I don't know. But so hypothetically, let's say Cleveland is the first team to take a quarterback, and they're sitting there, and they're like, "We want to take Shadir," and Shadir's father is like, "He is not going to Cleveland," and pulls a Archie Manning situation and sends him to San Francisco. I think San Francisco would take Shadir.
I don't think Shanahan wants Shadir.
So I mean,
too much nonsense, too much like even aside from the like. I mean, we know he's okay with athletic quarterbacks. He had RG3.
How much
Trey Lance, but like,
Shadir's athletic, but I mean, he's far from a running quarterback.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he wants all the nonsense. I think he wants a guy who's going to put his head down and work.
How much nonsense do you think you would be getting with Shadir without Dion involved, or do you think it's just inevitable?
I think it's inevitable, and I mean, I don't know. Shadir seems to make plenty of messes himself, aside from his dad. So, like, from what I've seen, like, I think I sit here and think with Shadir, like, where I end up thinking about it is if I was an NFL GM, I'm sitting there going, I get to draft one quarterback, and then I'm either fired or I'm great. But I don't get to draft a second unless I'm great. Am I really taking that bet on Shedeur Sanders in the top 10 or whatever it is? Like that's where I'm landing with it right now and thinking it through. It's like that's not the horse I'm betting on because of all the off-field stuff, all the nonsense that's around him.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that for sure. Somebody's going to take him, and Dion's been very open about like if it's somewhere he doesn't want him to go, it ain't happening. Which I don't know how you can. I mean, people have got away with it in the past, but at the same time, like Cleveland, for example, they can't get rid of Deshaun Watson. So if they take Shedeur and he's like, "Oh, I don't want you to go there," Cleveland's like, "Well, we're already being held hostage by one quarterback. Like, we're not going to be two. Either your son can not play, or he can play for Cleveland." Like, because they need a quarterback, and if they think Shadeur's the best one, take him. And if they can't have him, nobody will. That's how petty I would be as a GM if I was in the Cleveland Browns scenario, because it's like, what else can you do?
If I'm being
honest, this guy guaranteed money, and if you think he's the guy, screw it.
If I'm Shedeur Sanders, and I'm gonna take this off screen because we're kind of off topic on this, but if I'm Shedeur Sanders and Cleveland wants me, I'm saying pack my bags. I'm moving to Cleveland. They just paid a quarterback 100% guaranteed contract. That's the owner I'm going to. That's the roster I'm going to. That's the head coach I'm going to. Pack my bags. We're going to Cleveland, Dad. Like,
yeah. Screw you, Dad. I'm going to Cleveland.
Like that sounds like a great spot. Like Jimmy Haslam's writing checks. Like, come on.
I mean, that's a great point, but we've never seen him away from his dad. And so, like, I'm sure Dion's smart enough to realize that too. Like, it's not the same old Cleveland. Like, they're only bad right now basically because of Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm. They're the best bad team in the NFL roster-wise. Like,
and they're going to have a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
And you look at some of the other teams that might have a top 5 pick. I mean, Carolina's up there. Jacksonville's up there. Maybe Cincinnati. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville and Cincinnati will end up good enough, like that they'll manage.
Maybe the Giants, but I mean, Giants are showing enough life right now they might be in that same range of like 8 to 10. So I mean, you really start looking at teams that might be in that area. Dolphins will definitely take a quarterback.
Yeah,
I think they have to.
Like,
Shedeur going to Miami would be awesome.
The Rams are 1-4 right now.
Yeah, Rams and Stafford.
The Titans at 1-3 have to be in consideration at least.
I'm ready to start looking at these quarterbacks. I mean, because you oh man, but we'll move on. But we can look at that at the end of the season. Next up, we have your Jacksonville Jaguars playing against my Chicago Bears in London. Bears are 1.5 point favorites, 44.5 point total in London. I would love this over if it wasn't in London, but I'm taking the Bears. I think they got something going right now. I think that defense is looking really, really good. So I'm taking the Bears minus 1.5. But I think the Jags got life. I don't think the Jags are dead. I think the Jags could win this game, win next week, staying in London versus the Patriots, come back to America, and just be a very sneaky. What would that be? 3-4, 3-3.
Yes, I mean they're 1-4 right now. So they win the next.
They went back to back,
3-4.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very possible. And then from there, I mean, you're right in the thick of things for a wild card spot.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's possible. I'm taking Bears minus 1.5 here. It's not my most confident bet of the week just because it's London. London games are always kind of weird. They always feel a little off. And like just watching football at 9 a.m. doesn't feel right. But, I mean, I feel like the Bears are coming in this game with a lot of good momentum right now. and the Jags. I'm really glad the Jags, as a Bears fan, that they won last week because I didn't want to be the team. Like if they were
Crazy
0-5, that they would win this game, like hands
Crazy
down.
game. Yeah.
Um,
It kind of seemed like they kind of did everything they had to do to win that game. Like it didn't seem like they had a whole lot left in the tank,
mhm.
and the Bears kind of cruised, combining that with the fact of flying all the way to London. And I think the Bears went to London yesterday.
Yeah, Bears
Already
are there.
aren't
Bears
they?
are there right now, and the Jaguars aren't going until Thursday. Who knows how the hurricane is going to impact that? I think with all
That's crazy that they didn't get out sooner.
I know it's bizarre. I was shocked when I saw that they were waiting until Thursday to leave because, like, and I'm sure some of it is probably like family safety and stuff. Like, guys they have wives, they have kids, they have relatives who live around them, and it's like if they live in Jacksonville, or in Florida at all. It's like, okay, we got to make sure we have everything safe for the people around us too.
But I guess, and then they are staying over there too for the extra week. So, but it's still crazy. I mean, leaving on Thursday, you basically get there Friday morning. You have 1 day to adjust. Like that is.
I mean, they probably
crazy.
won't adjust. They'll probably just stay on their Florida schedule until after the game.
9 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, because then there's playing a game at American time, 9 a.m. or 9:30 kickoff.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then they have the entire next week to adjust. I mean, I kind of love the Bears in that spot then because, I mean, the Bears are going to be in routine by the time the Jags get there.
Yeah, I like the idea of the Bears here, and I'm taking the Bears. I don't just like the idea. I'm taking the Bears -1.5.
I'm taking the Bears too.
London games just scare me.
Yeah, definitely avoiding that total, but kind of like the over, but yeah, avoiding it altogether.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have the Cardinals, who we're not sleeping on, going to the Packers at Lambeau Field. Packers 5.5-point favorites, 49.5-point total. What are we not doing?
We ain't sleeping on them Cardinals, I'll tell you that much.
I don't think anybody is sleeping on the Cardinals at this point. I mean, this might be our quickest come to fruition prediction that we've had since we've been picking teams. Because, I mean, I don't think anybody's sleeping on the Cardinals at this point.
I don't know. I mean, they lost by nearly 30 to Washington.
They did. That was kind of sneaky, our other team we were thinking about.
Yeah.
But so
I talked us out of that one.
But 5-point dogs, 5.5-point dogs in Lambeau. It's probably obviously going to be much chillier, but it's definitely not going to be cold in Lambeau this weekend.
No, it's not. Weather's not even an issue in my mind for this.
Well, there's going to be a 40-degree difference in temperature. That's the same as if it was 70 and 30. But
yeah,
but still, it's going to probably be 68 degrees in Green Bay.
Yeah,
and
if you're over 60 degrees, I'm not too concerned.
Yeah, but yeah, probably still 112 in Phoenix. So, but yeah, I like the Cardinals here. Early in the year, I mean, I think they're rolling. Kyler's hard to defend. I don't know what's going on with Marvin Harrison because when they throw him the ball, great things happen, but they're not throwing him the ball. So that's strange.
Yeah.
But
he's just kind of up and down. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's happening with him, but also he's a rookie. So I'm weighing that generational wide receiver prospect versus he's still a rookie. And
it doesn't help him. It doesn't help that Malik Neighbors is so freaking good.
No, I mean, if you paid attention to me during the draft season, I tried to make it pretty clear without outright saying we might be overlooking Malik Neighbors, and he might be just as good as Marvin Harrison Jr.
I thought it was Marvin Harrison 1, Neighbors 2, and then a very clear line than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it might have been a lot closer than that. But would we see similar things if we swapped them? Would Marvin Harrison be getting these type of numbers? Because I mean,
the
Giants aren't aren't shy about the fact that they're just like, we have nothing. Like we're just we're gonna throw you the ball, brother. Like
I think it would be different because I think Malik Neighbors is the type of player who can be instant offense. Like he can eat
yeah,
on screens in quick game. And not that Marv can't, but Marv can't be as dynamic in that as Neighbors is. Like
yeah.
Neighbors is just a different athlete that like they're such different style players. So like he might be getting the same amount of targets, but I think they'd be more downfield stuff. And that's probably a bit more variable.
Another LSU receiver that we forgot to mention in the previous game, Brian Thomas, is looking fantastic in that Jaguars offense.
Yeah, he is. They're doing a great job with
Rookies are
the way they're
looking
scheming
good.
him. Like part of the worry with him in that offense for me was like if he's just going to be the big outside X receiver, like that might limit him a little because everyone's ready for that. But
Yeah,
they've used Gabe Davis as their X receiver a lot more, and they've really done a good job of setting Brian Thomas up for success in his routes by running a lot of short stuff, running a lot of quick speed outs, and like, and then branching that into the vertical tree as the
yeah,
game goes on, like kind of luring the defense into a calm before they attack downfield with Thomas. They're doing a really good job there.
yeah, yep. Hopefully, Romadunze gets going here pretty soon.
Oh, he has been.
He's been solid.
Like
But
he had a handful of catches this past game.
yeah, rookies are looking good at the receivers. Is there a rookie
Rome
receiver that
is
we're
206
missing?
yards right now. So on pace for somewhere probably around
800
700,
range.
800, which is about what was expected.
Yeah. Yep. All right. But yeah, I like the Cardinals in this game. We're not sleeping on them. I don't know how they cover this number, but the Packers looked really, really sloppy last week. Came out with the win, but nothing about that game really was like the Packers are this dominant team. But they did win 2 games with Malik Willis, so I think they're just. I think the Packers are just a really, really solid team, but I don't know if they have that potential just to like put their foot on your throat, choke you out, and dominate you. But we'll see. I mean, but I think the Cardinals keep this close.
Yeah, I'm torn on this. I'm just leaning the Cardinals. I mean, I really do think the Cardinals can cover this game. It being at Lambeau scares me.
Yeah.
Just flat out. Packers tend to do well at Lambeau. And I'm looking at these numbers like the Packers, they've given up a lot of yards pretty much every game this year except for one. But the rushing totals aren't that bad. Like they've actually been a pretty good rushing defense. And the Cardinals passing offense has been a little more suspect, I think. Yeah, I mean, Kyler's only gone over 200 once this year. They've hit 200 once as well, but like it's the passing offense has been slower for them. So, I mean, maybe it's a get right game for their pass offense, but I'm just not 100% sure that they're going to be able to attack the Packers' biggest weakness, which is the secondary. So until I see it, I'm staying away with a lean to the Cardinals.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Was this game originally supposed to be in New Orleans, or did it get moved?
It's in New Orleans. I mean, I think it's always been. It's in New Orleans.
So I think the Buccaneers are already in New Orleans. Then is what it is. I saw something up. I thought for some reason I saw that they switched, so they were going to play. They switched homes sites, but maybe
you could be right. I could have just missed it, but I just don't know.
I don't know. Either way, we have Saints as 3.5-point underdogs at home, 42.5-point total here. This is another game that I have. I am taking Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield. I love the way Baker Mayfield's playing right now. I said going after the Cowboys game that I was about to start fading the Saints heavily because I think the Saints were very fraudulent to start the season. They did not look very good last night against the Chiefs, and as much shit as everybody talks about the Chiefs and cooking the refs and everything. I mean, New Orleans got every call last night and still couldn't even keep it close. So I love Tampa in this game. Their receivers are playing fantastic right now. Mike Evans just doesn't age. Chris Godwin just keeps catching everything that comes towards him. Baker's absolutely slinging the rock. They have something in that running game with Bucky Irving coming out of the backfield. He's probably
Bucky the Buck.
Yeah, he's probably pretty close to just taking over the starting role there.
My fantasy teams would love that.
Which I mean, I think he's already getting more carries than
he's getting more touches, I think.
Yeah, more touches. So yeah, and in these 2-back systems, I mean, what does it really mean to be the starter? I don't know, but I definitely think we see his usage go up going forward. And their defense kind of worries me. I think is Winfield out for a while, or do you know? I don't know if he got hurt.
I think he's out for this game. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think he missed this past game, didn't he? Or did he leave during?
He missed the game, and then their other safety got hurt.
Yeah. I mean, either way, the Saints. It looks like they're starting Jake Haener at quarterback. So, I mean, that's why this number shifted. I'm kicking myself for not taking it at 2.5. It opened at 2.5, and I waited until the Carr announcement, and now it's at 3.5. But Carr's
what was Carr? Rib?
I forget what the injury was.
Midsection, something or another.
Yeah, I don't remember. But so with Jake Haener starting, I think I've said Jake over and over this year.
Jake Haener was slinging it at Fresno State.
He was, but I said it. I said it before the Washington game. I said it before the Denver game. Todd Bowles against an inexperienced quarterback. Give me Todd Bowles all day, every day.
And Baker's playing great football right now too.
Tampa coming off a heartbreaking loss in Atlanta. Like the Saints are coming off 3 straight losses. Where I mean, Atlanta they were close with, but the other two.
We were talking about teams earlier. Looking at quarterbacks. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Saints in that top 5 to 7 range.
No, me neither. I mean, I think that was one of the predictions that is actually starting to look right for us on the off season.
Even after starting 0-2 and having the best offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
For just a little bit. All right. Next up, we have one of my predictions that's looking fantastic right now is the Houston Texans taking on the New England Patriots. I forgot where New England played or who the Patriots were for a second. Patriots at home, 7-point dogs, 37.5-point favorite. Texans are 4-1 coming into New England. Nico Collins might be out for the year, they're saying.
Is that what they're saying now?
They said that hamstring's not looking good, which would be devastating. But they got Stephon Diggs for a reason. I mean, he started getting involved in that passing game. They destroyed the Bills. So, I mean, it ended up being close at the end, but it never felt close.
Did you see that picture of Stephon Diggs giving side eye to Josh Allen after the game? And then it was just like, the enemy speaks kindly and holds a knife. Like that is exactly what this picture is. I've never seen something better captioned. That was incredible.
Yeah, that's a game that, I mean, but those teams should be in jail for not hitting the over.
They should. I agree.
They
had 2 touchdowns the entire fourth quarter to go, and they couldn't. Even in the third, I think it was like still 3 or 4 minutes in the third. I just needed 2 touchdowns.
We were at 20 points in the second quarter, or to end the second quarter, and then we got 6 more points out of the Texans and 17 points out of Buffalo. And I mean, once Nico went down, I mean, I guess their offense struggled more than I thought, because I mean, it seemed like every time I looked up, Stephon Diggs was making a catch, but a couple of missed field goals in the game. But yeah, just kind of a gross game. Ended up being a 3-point game, but I like I said, I never really felt like the Texans were in trouble, but maybe I just wasn't watching closely enough.
Houston's had a hard time putting the ball in the end zone this year,
and they kind of had a hard time putting people away too.
Yeah.
They have a negative
point differential on the year.
Yeah, so I mean, a 4-point win at the Jaguars, get destroyed by the Vikings, 6-point win versus the Bears, and a 2-point win versus the Colts. So, yeah, I mean, they play
every
in close
game has been
games.
close except for their big loss to the Vikings.
So, do we take the Texans or do we take the Patriots and Drake May here?
No.
No.
I'm not betting this. Actually,
I'm not betting
when
it
I
either.
first opened the book this morning, I was like, Texans -7. And then 10 minutes later, I cashed it out because I was like, no, I'm not doing that. All their games have been close. The Patriots, I don't trust their O-line against the Texans defense one bit to keep Drake May clean. But they do have a scouting advantage in this game of unscouted looks. They don't know how the offense is going to look with Drake May at the helm. That's an advantage, Patriots. And the Patriots defense, they do have some talent. My gut still says Texans here, but with Nico Collins out, I just don't know what's going on there. So I'm just staying away. I'm not even really a strong
You think they
lean on
get
this game.
you don't think they get no dead cat bounce from certain Drake May, just a little bit of life.
They might get some, and that's what I mean. The scouting advantage, I do
Yeah.
think that is real. Where like there is no tape of what the Patriots offense looks with Drake May at the helm, except for a little bit of garbage time. So
buy your Jalen Polk stock right now.
buy your Demario Douglas stock, boy. Like, oh, that dude can move. I love Demario Douglas, but
Jalen Polk looking good too.
yeah, no, Jalen Polk's good. I just love how shifty Demario Douglas is. He's so fun to watch.
And he's got a great name.
Yeah, Demario Douglas. But I am not buying it enough because this Patriots O-line scares the living shit out of me. Maybe Drake May is that good. I love Drake May. He was my QB2 in the draft, but I didn't think he was QB2 in the NFL this year. Like I thought he's the guy who I bet on long term, not short term.
I agree with them not starting him early in the season. And I also agree with the idea of what's it going to hurt? I mean, you could go out there and get him killed, obviously. But, I mean, at some point, he's got to play ball. I mean, it's obviously nothing's happening right now. So, they're in a weird situation where, like, I agreed at first, and I still agree with the decision to go ahead and start him now. What do you think?
I think you should just start him week 1 if you were going to play him this quick. Like, why?
Yeah, I mean,
how many reps has he had with starters? How well does he know these receivers? How well does the offensive line know his drop, know his cadence? Like, I just don't get the point of. I say this over and over. If your starter is not at or above the Alex Smith line, just start the rookie because he's going to be better off having the chemistry with the starting offense than him being thrown in at week 6
and I think the concern,
not having that chemistry.
I think the concern was always the offensive line, and those concerns are still there. So I don't know why they make the decision now, but I feel weirdly like fine with it. Like I don't really have a strong take either way. Which
they don't have
I
a
thought,
choice. Like they don't have a choice.
Yeah, but I mean, they can just keep throwing Jacoby out there and letting him get killed. Like
they could, but then it's like Rob Mayo has to look every guy in the eye and say Jacoby Brissett was our best chance to win this football game. You know,
yeah,
that's a real impact. That's a real factor.
It's hard to get away with that as a first-year coach. Like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, and you thought they might have had some juice beating Cincinnati, and it's like I don't think Cincinnati's a bad team, but it's like they can't win football games.
When we first started this podcast, 3 years ago, something like that, maybe 4 years ago. 4 years ago,
we had 2 years of the Lions and then Texans last year.
Yes, this is the 4th year, so 3.5 years
I
ago.
just go by our teams.
Zach Taylor was the butt of our jokes. Yeah. Then Zach Taylor goes to a Super Bowl. We go, well, maybe Zach Taylor's actually good. I'm back to him being the butt of the jokes. To me, maybe we're not what?
I said we went from making fun of him to maybe not putting enough respect on his name to now we're maybe making fun of him again.
Yeah, I think he's proven who he is at this point. The Bengals start slow every single year. It was a matter of time before it caught up to them. And I denied it this offseason, thinking that the Bengals were going to be good. and that this slow start might kill their season. Like that, they're a better team than this. But like,
yeah, I mean, if they would have beat the Ravens, they would have the same record as the Ravens after what everybody was saying was an abysmal start, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, they can make a run now. But they go from having the same record as the Ravens to being 3 games back, and then the Browns are terrible.
They're tied.
The Steelers don't look great.
Or they're tied for the 4th highest scoring offense in the NFL, and they have a negative point differential. Like there's something off about that. I know their defense lost a lot, and they're transitioning a lot of rookies, but you find a way to be better than this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very, very strange. It's going to be that Giants game will be interesting, but we'll get to it here in a second. Yeah. This is a no bet for me on this game.
Yeah, I'm staying away from Texans Patriots.
All right, next up we have the Indianapolis Colts going to Nashville to take on the Titans. Titans are 1.5-point underdogs at 43.5 point total. This is another game I'm avoiding. I'm assuming we're going to see Joe Flacco again, but he has no mobility whatsoever. I would probably like the Colts more in this game with Anthony Richardson, as crazy as it sounds, with how good Flacco's looked. That Titans defensive line is absolutely nasty.
Yeah, it is.
And Flacco can't move.
So all I'm seeing is that Anthony Richardson will be starter when he's healthy, but not whether that's going to be this week. So I'm assuming that probably means Flacco.
Talk about a team that's got to make some decisions, man. If Anthony Richardson, he hasn't looked good this year. If he finishes year 2 looking awful and they're up there, it's like it would be hard to pass on a quarterback. I don't know. To me, it's just like, go get a quarterback. If you think you might need a quarterback, draft a quarterback. Because it seems like that's what everybody else did this past year, and that might just be the new wave of the NFL. It's like if you're even questioning your quarterback situation, take a quarterback.
Or just ride with Joe Flacco, man.
Yeah, I mean, how good would the Browns be right now?
Yeah, they'd be much better off. I mean, so when I saw this game this morning, another one where I went, boom, Colts minus 1.5. Will Levis sucks. And then after I put the bet in, I got cold feet and I cashed it out because I was like, that Titans D line can get pressure without blitzing, and they have the talent in the secondary to make Joe Flacco pay for every mistake he makes, because he's not going to play mistake-free football. He'll play some electric football, but not mistake-free, and that is the makings of a game that can go the wrong way. Like, a part of me wants to take Titans money line here. I'm not going to do it because Will Levis is still Will Levis, and I can't trust Will Levis unless I'm betting the other side of the game. So I'm ending up staying away, lean towards the Colts, but I'm not taking it.
Yeah, I agree. And then moving on to the next game here, we have Browns going to the Eagles. Eagles 8.5 point favorites at home, 43.5 point total. Disgusting game. But do you trust the Eagles to cover an 8.5 point spread?
The Eagles shouldn't be 8.5 point favorites against any team right now, but I can't bet the Browns either. So I'm just like, gross. Yeah, I might take. I have a lean towards the under. Like that's about all I got.
Is Devonta Smith back?
It's still up in the air. Okay. And I think AJ Brown's still up. AJ Brown's questionable, I think. So it seems like there's a good chance he'll be back, but I'm not sure on Devonta Smith. It's concussion protocol can always get a little weird with timing. Like there's no set timeline for something that is, has no sure timeline for recovery.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say about this game. Well, I guess we'll learn a lot about the Eagles. I think the Browns defense is still solid. They haven't played well lately, but
because they haven't been at home.
And
this Browns defense was historic at home last year. They were awful on the road, and it's looking similar.
Yeah, well, they got destroyed by the Cowboys at home, but
that's true, they did. But then the next week they held Jacksonville to 13. Then they gave
up 21 to the Giants at home.
I mean, honestly, I think points are probably a bad metric for this though, because we got Deshaun Watson doing
Yeah,
like
I mean,
I don't know how long these Giants scoring drives were in this game.
and I mean, so week 1, Kevonta Turpin returned to punt. Dak Prescott only threw 1 touchdown. And then we had Brandon Aubrey field goal, Brandon Aubrey field goal, Brandon Aubrey field goal, Brandon Aubrey field goal, Brandon Aubrey field goal. So they gave up
Yeah.
1 touchdown to Brandon Cooks, and then Zeke had a 3-yard touchdown run, which I think came off of an interception, if I'm not mistaken. So really, the defense didn't play bad. They gave up a punt return, and then they gave up a 56-yard field goal, a 46-yard field goal, a 60-yard field goal, a 57-yard field goal, and a 40-yard field goal.
And if I'm like the Browns, their defense is as talented as they come.
Yeah.
So like I'm looking at talent isn't the issue, but if I'm one of the marquee players in that defense and I'm looking back at what Washington just put up 40 points on us, and I can't help but look at Jim Schwartz and think, why the hell did we keep blitzing without a spy when Jaden Daniels kept gashing us on the ground? Like what are we doing here? How is that our game plan against this guy who is deadly on the ground like this?
Yeah, I agree. So it's tough, and I mean, Jalen doesn't really run as much as Jaden Daniels, but Saquon, we'll see. I mean, it's a tough game to gauge. I'm not betting it though.
No, I hope Saquon gets a few touchdowns for my fantasy team though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Broncos going to win 4 in a row.
No, Jim Harbaugh ain't losing to the Broncos here.
Yeah. So we got the Chargers facing the Broncos.
Jim Harbaugh
Broncos
off
at home.
Bye? Off a bye?
The Broncos defense is very good.
They are very good.
And like, are the Chargers like, what's their redeeming quality? Like they play decent football.
Their redeeming quality is Jim Harbaugh.
I don't know how much I'm buying into year 1 of Jim Harbaugh. And are their tackles back? Last time we saw the Chargers, both of their tackles were hurt.
I'm not even sure.
Can they run the ball against this defense with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards?
I think they'll be able to run the ball enough. This honestly might be a game where you need a little more from Justin Herbert.
Yeah, and Quentin Johnson was looking good.
Yeah,
but
so was Ladd McConkey was really starting to look good too.
But you know who else looks good? Patrick Surtain.
Yeah,
the second.
Now, some of those interceptions were thrown straight to him. Hey, you still got to catch it.
Catch them.
Still got to catch it.
Yeah, this is. I don't know how the Broncos are winning games, but they keep winning games. Yeah, defense, but
and Sean Payton just saying, "I like my job." And I made a big mistake, but I like my job.
Yeah. Are you taking the Chargers here?
No, I'm not. I'm not touching this game with a 10-foot. You can't make me. You can't pay me to bet on this game. Well, I guess you could. If you gave me $100 and I had to bet 50 of it, yeah, sure, I'll bet it. But like, I want nothing
this game with your money.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not. Yeah,
like I have a lean towards the Chargers, I guess. But like 3 is I don't like that number.
It is a weird number.
Like if it was 2.5, I'd probably bet Chargers. But even then, I mean. My favorite bet for this game is probably the under, and that's disgusting at 35.5. So no.
Also, we forgot a game.
Did we?
Yeah. We talked about it and talked about it a lot pre-show. Ravens Commanders.
Oh. Okay. Then let's move on to the next one, and I'll get that in.
Yeah. Okay. Next up here we have Steelers going to Las Vegas, take on the Raiders, 36.5 point total. Raiders are 3-point underdogs at home. I'm assuming Aiden O'Connell starting this game. I don't know, but just another weird. Don't really know what these teams are. Steelers are going to play good, tough football, but that offense is looking better, but still not great. And the Raiders are in just absolute shambles.
Yeah, I think let me check my slate. I think I'm taking the Steelers here. Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers -3. I don't think the Raiders are in any position to score points right now. I
Yeah.
just think they are in a very rough spot. I don't trust their defense that much. Like Max Crosby's awesome. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. But outside of Max Crosby, I'm not sure I have faith in much that they're doing on defense. I don't have faith in much they're doing on offense. And the Steelers coming off a heartbreaking loss. I think this is a defense that
Think this is sorry we lost y'all for a second, but yeah, I was like, I don't know where he was going with that. I think this is a defense that what?
Justin Fields can do pretty well against. Sorry, I don't know where
Yeah.
I cut out because I was still talking the whole time.
Yeah.
But I think this, based on the talent that's on the field, this is a defense Justin Fields can do stuff against, and I just don't trust the Raiders to put up points. I don't trust them to stop teams from putting up points. There's a big quarterback disparity in this game to me.
Very big quarterback disparity. Huge quarterback disparity. Aiden O'Connell starting? Or are we going to get
either way? I feel like it's a big quarterback disparity.
Raiders are an absolute shambles. Maybe you don't hire the interim coach that everybody on the team loves just because everybody on the team loves him. But I think they got so much shit for not hiring Rich Bisaccia that they just thought they couldn't do it again, which they could have done it again. Like, they didn't have to hire Antonio Pierce. But, I mean, roster management also not fantastic. Like, Devontae, I know they want a second for him. They're not getting a second for him. Like, you got to move him. Maybe Max Crosby as well. And just or figure out something to put something together here moving forward. But
I wouldn't move Crosby.
I wouldn't either. But
an edge rusher who wins with long arms. And
I mean, we can kind of get into the discussion.
Well.
We can get into the discussion here in a minute when we talk Lions Cowboys. But I mean, I think there'll be some edge rushers move this season, and depending on what the market is, I think if you can get enough, you go do it.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, Crosby, I thought the Commanders were foolish for moving Montez Sweat last year because it's the same thing. It's an edge rusher who wins with long arm moves and technique, who has freakishly long arms. Those guys tend to play into their late 30s. Like the guys who are really good, at least with that skill set and those physical traits, tend to play a really long time and stay good for a really long time. So I just think Crosby has a different value than a guy like Khalil Mack did, who didn't have those same traits. He had amazing traits, but different traits that don't age quite as gracefully.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, but they definitely got to do something to figure out that roster. But moving on. So, funny enough, one of the biggest spreads of the week, we have the Washington Commanders going to Baltimore. This is a really long trip for them. I think they're going to have to take their own personal vehicles to the game. Ravens are 6.5-point favorites, 52.5-point total here. One of the biggest spreads of the week, but I think this could be, I mean, you can tell by the total, one of the most exciting games of the week. I'm excited to see this game. I mean, Jaden Daniels, Cliff Kingsbury offense, they've been looking electric. But every time you go back and look at their wins and who they've played, and you want to say, like, well, have they played anybody? But at the same time, it's like, it's one of those, we're so early in the season. Are those teams bad because they're bad, or do they just look bad because they played the Commanders?
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like the Ravens have had their defensive issues this year. Like, they gave up 26 to the Raiders, gave up 38 to the Bengals. Bengals are a really good offense, but still, like, that's 38 points. And I don't I don't know if the Ravens defense is as good as it's chalked up to be this year. I think they lost some talent, lost some coaches. I think the coaches are a big aspect of that, but they're still a really talented defense. They're still a really talented
Are
football
you
team
worried?
all around.
Are you worried that the two-time doesn't seem to have a go-to guy, but he is spreading it out?
A little. I mean, I think there is some real valid concern about their wide receiver core and it not being like they don't have a clear one. I mean, Zay Flowers is awesome. I love Zay Flowers, but
every time he touches the
he's
ball,
small.
he looks awesome. Yeah,
He's small. Like he just doesn't
Yeah.
have the traits to physically beat you in a one-on-one. Like
yeah.
he can win a route. He can't win a ball though in the same way. Even though I'm sure his contested catch numbers are nice and all, but he's not Nico Collins going out there dunking on people. You know, like
Nico Collins
that's
is so
different.
incredible. Yeah, this game, this number is weird. I'm taking the Commanders in this game plus 6.5. I love this game. But we look at the Commanders team and we look at this total of 52.5, but it's a 7-point spread. So that's weird because it's saying that they think both teams are going to be able to score, but Ravens are still going to win by 7. That makes me really like the Commanders. Like if this total was 48, 47, you might be like, oh, okay, I can see how that is. But once it starts getting into the 50s to where it's like, so what would that be? A 32-25 win? No, 33-26.
Yeah.
I guess 32-25. That range gets us to 52. But I mean, if you think the Commanders can score that much, then why can't they get up into the 30s? Like
32-25. That would be the over. That's 57, right?
32-25. 25.
Yeah. 30 plus 20, 50 plus 7. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that? So
math is hard. I get it. I make mistakes like that all the time.
So we'd be looking at like 20. Now I can't even do math.
21 to 32 would get you there. I mean, but that's not exactly in line.
I was thinking of a 7-point spread to get us to 52.
Yeah.
But 25-25 gets us to 50. So add 2 minus, it would be like 20, 27, 20. No, that's 47. Either way, 23-30. 23-30.
Yeah.
23-30. But yeah, I mean, it's still the same point. If you think they can score in that 23 range, like then why can't they get up to 30? So it's the numbers are weird. So I mean, I like the Commanders for that aspect because I mean Vegas thinks they're going to be able to score, but somehow still lose by 7, or because if not, then the spread would either be bigger or the number or the total would be smaller, one of the two. So I mean, I love the Commanders in the spot. I think they're going to be able to score. I think they're going to be able to keep up with them. I hope they lose the game, but at the same time, I'm taking. You give me a touchdown and a Cliff Kingsbury led rookie quarterback that's absolutely on fire. Yeah, give me the Commanders here.
I'm taking the Ravens. I think this is the first bet of the year that we're on opposite sides of, but I just think push comes to shove, the Ravens roster is significantly better than the Commanders. And I think that this Commanders offense is going to have a game where they're exposed sometime soon. I just think their offense is a little too simple to be doing as well as they have been. As good as Jaden Daniels has been, he's executed it well. He's out there running the football well. But when you dig into it, you find flaws in the way that they're running it. You find ways that you can really beat Jaden Daniels theoretically. It's all theoretical. You know, that's economics versus finance, right? It's like theoretical is great, but it's not what's happening on the field. I think this is a week where we see it a little bit come back to reality a little bit for their offense of, you know, the game that I have in my head is, and it's not to say it's very different quarterbacks here, but in 2018, the Bears played the Patriots. The Bears lost by 7, I want to say. Mitch Trubisky threw 2 picks and 2 touchdowns or something. And like they they backdoored into losing by 7 and almost had a Hail Mary to tie it up at the end. But it was the game never felt as close as that 7 points. And I think that's the way the Commanders cover this, is a backdoor like that. And ultimately, I think that is asking a lot. I like Ravens minus 6.5 at that point. I don't know that this ends up being a 1-score game. Maybe it's in the end, it's a, Jaden Daniels is down 10 with a chance to get them within 3 with 3 minutes left, and then they never get the ball. Then there's a fluke, something weird that happens. They never get the ball back. They lose by 10. Like that's where I see it being.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I feel like the Commanders have been getting better and better every week. I think the defense is playing better and better every week. I think Baltimore has shown some flaws. Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to show us a lot about both of these teams. So
I do too.
It's probably one of the games I'm most excited for this weekend, especially in that noon slate, that 12 o'clock slate, coming off of hopefully a great London game, but probably not. Yeah, it's going to be a good way to start NFL Sunday for sure.
I wish that the Ravens have played the Steelers already, because I'd really like to see how the Ravens defense manage Justin Fields, because I think one of the best ways that you can try to attack Jaden Daniels right now is the same way that you attack Justin Fields.
Yeah,
because I think they're very similar football players, except the main difference is Jaden has a quick release that Justin doesn't, which changes stuff in the quick game, and he's processing quick game well, but I still think that there are a lot of similarities in the way they play the game and the way that they can be stopped.
Also, if you're betting on the Ravens this weekend, I think Lamar is like 23-1 versus the NFC.
Boom. So making my case for me.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got the Dirty Birds going to Carolina. Carolina's 6.5 point underdogs at home, 47.5 point total. Carolina's bad. They're awful. They have no life. They're dead. I'm taking the Falcons here. Kirky boy, Kirk O'Chain's looking. He's got that offense humming in Atlanta. And defense, it's got its flaws for sure. I just don't know if the Panthers can do anything about that. Like, I don't know.
I mean,
even with the flawed defense that the Falcons have, I don't look at anything on that Panthers team and be like, oh, they can really take advantage here. Like, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the way the Panthers need to win is on the ground. They need the game script to go right for them, right? They need Chuba Hubbard to eat up yards early in the game, get in the end zone early in the game, and they need a few things to go right. And I just maybe even if Chuba Hubbard can do that, they still need those things to go right for them to win, as far as like a little bit of turnover luck. Andy Dalton needs to be really efficient in the quick game and the underneath, and they need to be able to get yards after catch. Like, to me, the Falcons have difference makers on their roster, offensively and defensively, who can make up for those margins of things going wrong where the Panthers don't. And I like Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
He's not Mike Evans, last week.
Not Mike Evans.
So I end up here going, I'm taking Falcons minus 6.5. This is one of my favorite bets of the week, even though I am a little skeptical of them going overtime last week in an emotional game. But it
was Thursday night.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this might end up being upgraded to a T-unit play for me.
Boom.
All right. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions going to Dallas, taking on the Cowboys. Cowboys 3-point home dogs with a 52.5 point total. And let me just put something in perspective for you right now. Cowboys sitting at 3-2. Okay. Here's our upcoming schedule. We got the Lions bye week, 49ers, Falcons, Eagles, Texans, Commanders. We're 3-2 right now. Lions, 49ers, Falcons, Eagles, Texans, Commanders.
It's a gauntlet.
If we don't win this game, I am fully on the trade Micah Parsons wagon, even if he doesn't play. I mean, because we're dead in the water if we don't win this game. Because I mean, we go to 3-3, and then best case scenario, we win 4, but then we're 7. I don't know. It's one of those scenarios where it's like it's almost going to be impossible to get out of. I think the earlier you trade Parsons, the higher his value is. Maybe not though. Maybe if you wait closer to the trade deadline, people are more desperate. You get more for him. I don't know. I don't know who the willing participants would be. I don't know what the package would be. But if we lose to the Lions, coming off a bye, I mean, we never beat the 49ers. Falcons in Atlanta, tough. We'll probably beat the Eagles, but then Texans, Commanders. That's brutal. And I've been kind of on the fence about Parsons anyway. I mean, he doesn't show up in big games. He's kind of a stat merchant in blowouts. So
I was just
it might
about
be
to
the
ask
time.
you, am I crazy for thinking if I was another team looking for an edge rusher, I'd be a little bit wary of trading for Parsons because, and I thought maybe I was getting too NFL scout take
I don't know the numbers behind it, just the eye test. I mean, he's nowhere in big games. And
I see a player who's freaky fast and freaky explosive, but short fucking arms that if offensive tackles can get their hands on you, I don't know. Like that feels limiting to me.
I said it in the offseason before Sam Williams got hurt, but obviously before DeMarcus Lawrence got hurt, we drafted Nealon, people like that. We needed linebacker, and I was like, in a perfect world, he would go back to playing a true off-the-ball linebacker and rushing the passer occasionally. And I think that's where he would be best. But after the production that he's had, I mean, if I was him, you couldn't convince me to go back and do that. I mean, the money's not there. But I think for the team, I think that would be the best thing for him is being an off-the-ball linebacker, and then he can come down and rush the passer when he wants to. Like that's his true position, and I think the defense overall would be significantly better if that were the case. But now that we don't have an edge rusher at all, basically, I mean, that's not even an option. But it's one of those where
no one wants to hear this either, but guy's a borderline liability against the run.
Yeah. There's no DeMarcus Lawrence, that's for sure. And that's another reason why I'm like, I would rather move him when people still think he's incredible. Because, I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I mean, it almost seems impossible that we keep him long term. But Jerry does fall in love with his guys and make it work. But it seems like he would be to a detriment at this point. And I think if you get a nice package, especially if like you get a 1 in future picks, you trade him on the bye week. And you're so injured right now too. On top of that gauntlet of a schedule, we're so injured. So injured.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we beat the Lions. We go 3-3. We get healthy. I feel a lot better going into the bye week 3-3, or 4-2. Excuse me. If we beat the Lions and we're at 4-2 and go into the bye week, I feel a hell of a lot better. And that's
what has to happen for the Cowboys to beat the Lions.
Got to stop the run.
How do you do that?
You don't. So you got to score more points than them. And that's why I'm taking the over 52.5 in this game. I do think the Cowboys can push the ball downfield. Brandon Cooks is on IR, but Jalen Tolbert looking better than I ever thought Jalen Tolbert would look as a receiver on this team. I think he had 7 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown against the Steelers. Made some big plays. Jake Ferguson's also playing very, very well right now. CeeDee Lamb's still good. So I think the Cowboys can definitely score points in this game. Whether or not they can score more than the Lions, I don't know. But I am taking over 52.5 in this game because I don't see how the Lions don't push that 28-35 range against this Cowboys defense. But I also think, it's a 3-point spread. I think the Cowboys are going to be with them just about every step of the way. So, yeah, I love this over.
I think I like the over too. I haven't bet it. Right now, it's just a strong lean. I think this Lions defense is susceptible. You're talking about a bunch of rookies in the secondary and like Carlton Davis, who's a solid football player.
And then their rookie out of Bama gets so many penalties. What's his Arnold or
Terrion Arnold.
Terrion Arnold. He's playing decent, but I think he's the most penalized player in the league right now.
I wouldn't be surprised by that.
And if he's going if he ends up on CD or even Tolbert, he's hard to.
Dude, I like Jalen Tolbert, man. Jalen Tolbert's biggest problem is that his name is Jalen Tolbert, and that just does not sound like an NFL wide receiver.
Yeah, but he's quick. He's fast off the line. He's hard to get your hands on, and that's a nightmare scenario for our young corner. But if he's not on Tolbert, are you gonna put him on CeeDee Lamb? I don't know. So even
Dak will find the holes, and the Lions are gonna run man coverage. That's what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I definitely think the Cowboys can score here. I don't know how we stop that offense because even if they don't run on us, Jamison Williams has looked really, really, really good. Amon-Ra St. Brown is still Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'll
tell you this much. Matt Eberflus nearly beat the Bears head coach, nearly beat the Lions twice last year. Mike Zimmer and him share a lot of similar philosophies. So there's some Goff has struggled against that.
But the talent's not there on the Dallas defense right now.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. It's not, but schematically, it is a defense that Goff has had some issues against.
We have one starting defensive lineman right now in Osa Odighizuwa. Everybody else is hurt. Well, I guess your dude from Michigan.
Yeah, it might be.
He's technically a starter, but he's more of a rotation guy. But Osa's our only starting defensive lineman. Eric Kendrick, who looked good early in the season, already looks old. He had that veteran burst early in the year.
Yeah.
But 5 games in. Yeah, 5 games in, that best shape of your life. Those mornings are pretty hard to wake up from, it looks like.
5 straight car crashes ends that real quick.
Yeah, DeMarvion Overshawn looks good. He's fast, but with no defensive line in front of him, he's getting eaten up by offensive linemen. The DBs are looking good though. We started a practice squad defensive back. I forgot his name. He played decent enough, and I think we're getting Kalen Carson back this week, who's our rookie, and he looked decent enough.
Yeah, he was a baller in college. I love his tape.
Yeah, our safeties are good. Diggs is playing well, and Bland should be coming back pretty soon. So, yeah, if we can get our DBs fully healthy and find any sort of rotation, find somebody on this offensive line, because Breland was our 5th edge rusher, and he's out. So we don't have. We don't have it.
When you lose the Cowboys stole a game last week, and stealing 2 in a row can be tough.
When you lose your 5th edge rusher and he was starting for you, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this for now. I might take that over though. I do like that.
Yeah, I just don't. I just don't think the Cowboys get absolutely blown out, and I don't see how the Lions don't score 30 points. So
Yeah.
it's kind of my philosophy there. Then next up, we have Sunday Night Football. We have the Bengals going to New Jersey to take on the Giants. 3.5 point dogs at home. 48.5 point total. Bengals can't win games. They're very, very good on offense, but they can't win games.
They have not
I-
shown an ability to.
I didn't bet this game, but I might like the over, especially if Malik Neighbors plays.
I love Bengals minus 3.5.
I want to like
They're
it.
gonna get a win here. Like they're gonna get a win, and Daniel Jones is gonna make a mistake. It's gonna be more than 3 points.
But what if Daniel Jones is good?
I don't buy it. I don't see it. I mean, he's gonna give you the ball at some point in this game, even as bad as the Bengals defense is. And to me, that's enough for me to like Bengals minus 3.5. It's a terrible number. I'd never suggest people to bet 3.5. It's just not a good number. But you know what? This Bengals offense just put up 38 points on the Ravens. Like, I think Andy Dalton is better. And they gave up 24 to Andy Dalton and the Panthers. I think they're better than the Daniel Jones led Giants offense. So like I'm
with Malik Neighbors.
With Malik Neighbors, yeah. I mean, Neighbors is awesome. Neighbors rules.
Devin Singletary is a beast.
The Giants, they beat up on the Vikings week 1.
What about Tyrone Tracy?
Tyrone Tracy's fun. I think I heard him being. I heard a podcast today of someone talking about how good his vision was, which was shocking to me because his vision. I did not like his vision in college, but I mean, I love the athlete. I thought he had a lot to learn about playing running back still because he was a converted wide receiver. But I just see. I don't see a reason to get excited about this Giants offense outside of Malik Neighbors, and when it's one guy, I just have to hope that the Bengals can do enough to cover this number because it's one guy.
What if I told you Darius Slayton went 8 for 122 and a touchdown last week?
He did? Awesome. How many times has he done that 2 games in a row in his life?
Well, he doesn't have to if Mike Neighbors is there. What if I told you Danny Dimes threw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns?
Woo! Exciting. They scored 21 points or 22 points against Seattle, and then got the 7 points at the end off the field goal block.
Tyrone Tracy rushed for 130 yards.
Awesome. Hey, I liked Tracy in the draft. Like I said, I love the athlete. I thought he had some learning to do, but the athlete was wild.
But you don't think they could score in this Bengals defense?
I don't think they can score enough to cover 3.5. I think the Bengals are going to be putting up points in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bengals. But what if they don't? What if their offensive line just falls apart against that defensive line? Because it's not like Joe Burrow can really go out there and outrun anybody.
No, he can't. But then I'll lose my bet, I guess. I mean, they might.
I think I like this over. I think give me this over. Bengals Giants over 48.5.
And I'm taking Bengals minus 3.5. I just think the Bengals win this game by 10.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like the Giants. I'm just telling you why I don't like the spread in general.
Yeah. I think you make good arguments in there, but I mean, I think Trey Hendrickson is going to have a big game this week. I think the Bengals are desperate to get a win here, and I think that desperation is going to show in a big way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Bengals win this game. I think I looked at their schedule earlier. I think they're not.
Their schedule is so easy this year. That's why I had them winning like 13 games this year.
Yeah, they win this game. They go to 2-4. Then they have the Browns. Then they have the Eagles. Then they have the Raiders. So they win this game. They go 2-4. If they beat the Browns, they'll be 3-4. They beat the Eagles, they'll be 4-4. They beat the Raiders, they'll be 5-4 going into their first game or their second game with the Ravens, where they could win that game and be 6-4. And most likely, the Ravens will probably be in that same range by then. But then you got Chargers, Steelers, Cowboys, Titans. Like they can definitely get some wins down the stretch. So But if they lose this game, I mean, we
They're
kind
done.
of said it.
If
We
they
kind of
lose
said it
this
last
game,
week
they're
with the
done.
Ravens, but yeah, I mean, yeah, they
Like
have
there is
to win.
still a path to the playoffs for them when I look at their schedule. Like,
Oh, most certainly.
but
Yeah,
if they
earlier when
lose
you
this
said they
game,
can,
that path gets infinitely harder.
we kind of jokingly said earlier, like, oh, they'll just win out. Like, they could very well win out. I mean, they have Ravens, Cowboys, Steelers are always tough, but I mean, Steelers twice, and the Eagles. I mean, those are their really big games. I mean, they'll probably be favored in the rest of their games outside of those, and they'll
Yeah.
probably be favored in some of those games. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think they're. I think
they
they're
got to win
going to
this
go
week.
on a run of wins.
They
here.
have to
Like,
win
they're
this
scoring
week.
too many points to not figure something out
Yeah.
on defense.
Absolutely, yeah, have to win this week. Oh, okay. Now we got game of the week, Monday Night Football. Buffalo Bills going to New Jersey to play the Jets. Jets are 2.5-point dogs at home with a 41.5-point total. Bob Salah out, gone. He gone. Aaron Rodgers did it again. But I mean, was Bob Salah the problem? I don't know. Aaron Rodgers looks old. I mean, he's still got some. He's got juice in his arm.
If Robert Salah did get fired today, Nathaniel Hackett might be fired tomorrow. Like, that's hysterical to me.
Yeah, I don't even know who the interim is going to be there.
It's the DC. I forget his
DC.
name. Ulbrich or something. Jeff Ulbrich.
Sounds right. But yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers has shown flashes that he can still get it done, but he looks very old. And he sprained his ankle. But
he was just in London.
Oh, he was just in London.
But then again, I mean, the difference between a New York to California flight and a New York to London flight probably isn't that big. It's probably only like a couple hours.
Yeah. But the Bills, they should be good. But Bills are weird.
Josh Allen did not look right after that, after hitting his head. And that was late in the game. The whole game can't be put on that, but like, how good is he going to be this week after? And I feel like Josh Allen has made me look like a fool after saying stuff like that before. So I don't know, but I have a really hard time betting on Josh Allen here. I have a really hard time betting on the Jets. I have a really hard time knowing what to expect from either of these football teams.
Yeah, and the Bills have played weird games. So they were down big to the Cardinals, came back and won, destroyed the Dolphins, destroyed the Jaguars, got destroyed by the Ravens, and then Bills Texans was just such a weird game last week. I mean, you thought the Texans were going to run away with it, and then the Bills, like I said, like it never really felt like they were in the game, but then all of a sudden, like Kyrie Fairbairn was having to kick a field goal to win 23-20 on the last play of the game, and you're like, oh shit, this almost went to overtime. But I mean, Josh Allen, have you seen Josh Allen's stat line last week?
Dude, he started 1-9. I know that much, and it got better, but it still wasn't good.
9 for 30.
Yeah, that's atrocious.
I did not know it was that bad.
I don't know when Khalil Shakur got hurt. I'm assuming it was partway through the Ravens game, and their offense, by what I can gather right now, just thinking it through, has not looked the same since Khalil Shakur went out.
Yeah.
Like, Khalil Shakur is a guy that Josh Allen clearly trusts. And I think he's an important guy in this offense just for that trust factor of it's third down. I need to hit someone. Khalil Shakur's my guy.
Yeah, 9 for 30, and he had a Keon Coleman touchdown for 50 yards, 9 for 130. So you take out the Khalil Keon Coleman touchdown, and he's 8 for 29 for 80 yards.
Oh man, a part of me is just something is screaming at me right now as you're saying this. Like Josh Allen is not going to have 2 bad games in a row. Like he's going to. So I'm like trying to pull it up as we're talking right now. See, like he had a bad game against Dallas last year. He had a bad game against, not that bad, but like he had a bad game against Dallas, and the next week
got to be the worst game of his career.
Kind of bounce back. Let's see. Let's just go by completion percentage, because he had games worse than that. Yeah, that's the worst of his career.
By far.
And he's had some bad games in his career, but like.
And then James Cook is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is, I mean, like I said, I mean, maybe that's why I felt like they never felt like they were in it, because he was so bad. But yeah, I don't know what to think about this game. I'm not betting it.
Man, part of me really wants to take the Bills here, just because he can't be that bad twice in a row, right? But like, I don't know.
But
and part of me is saying, like, the Jets, if I'm the Jets defense, I feel like, what the fuck just happened? Like, that's my coach. Yeah. Like, it's not like I don't think it's a uplifting moment for them. Maybe for the offense, I don't know, but like,
yeah, it's like, if you're the Jets, a lot of those guys are veterans, been with the team for a while, and then Aaron Rodgers comes in and runs off your coach, who then you look at Aaron Rodgers and like, you've scored 20 points, 15 points. Oh, wait, no, wrong. You've scored 19 points, 24 points, 24 points, 9 points, and 17 points. Like,
after
what are you doing
in the offseason in a dark shack smoking crack?
Yeah, it's like, if you're the defense looking over to the offense and you're like, we just fired our defensive head coach when we're not really losing games. I mean, yeah, you definitely want to keep guys under 20, but defense gave up 32, but that was basically fully healthy 49ers team outside of CMC. But they gave up 17, they gave up 3, they gave up 10, and they gave up 23. But I think, didn't Rodgers have a pick 6?
I'm not sure.
Somebody had a pick 6.
I think so. Yeah. I think he did.
CJ Ham. 41-yard field goal, 53-yard field goal. Oh, yeah. Andrew Van Ginkel, 63-yard interception.
Van Ginkel again. Ginkel just makes plays, man.
So, yeah. You take out the Van Ginkel interception, and the Jets win the game. I know it's not that simple, but yeah.
For our purposes, we're saying it's that simple.
Yeah. So
I'm staying away from this. I'm despite my my gut screaming at me to bet the Bills here, I'm not going to do it. I'm just staying away.
Yeah, I'm staying away as well. But that'll do it for the NFL slate. You want to get into college football real quick?
Yeah. You want me to go ahead, or you want to start?
You can go first this week, and then I'll get into mine.
All right, got Ohio State going across the country to Oregon, not Oregon, and 3.5-point favorites. Give me Ohio State minus 3.5. Then I got Ole Miss going to LSU. Give me the over in this game, 63.5. I got Cal traveling to the East Coast, to Pittsburgh. Not really a coast. It's kind of landlocked, but we'll call it East Coast.
Classic ACC game.
Give me Pittsburgh minus 3.5. Classic ACC game. Absolutely. Then Penn State going all the way over to the West Coast, opposite direction, to USC. Give me Penn State minus 4.5 in a classic Big
game.
Ten battle.
Or Big Ten matchup. Yeah, classic.
And then
oldest rivalry in the book.
Now, a newer one. I don't know if you've ever seen this one before. Texas going to Oklahoma.
First time we've seen it in years.
Give me Texas minus 14.5. And then a 2-unit play. I got Florida going to Tennessee, and give me Tennessee minus 14.5.
Love that. Pretty similar in a lot of these. So I got Alabama minus 21. I think they bounce back big time. I mean, old school Alabama coming off of a bad loss used to be the easiest bet in the world. So let's see if they still got that in them, got that dog in them. I mean, I think that offense is very good. South Carolina team looks dead under Shane Beamer. He might be gone after this year. Then I also have Ohio State going to Oregon, winning that game, minus 3.5. Next up, I have Arizona going to BYU, going up to the mountains. I like over 49.5 that game. I think both teams will be able to score points there. And then I have 2 games with you. I got Tennessee minus 14.5 versus Florida. I think Neyland Stadium is going to be absolutely rocking. I don't think Florida is good. I think we could see a big bounce back here for Tennessee. Kind of the same reason why I like Alabama. And then I also like the over 63.5 LSU Ole Miss. Garrett Nussmeier, Jackson Dart be slinging the ball all over the place. Mississippi State or Ole Miss needs a win here. LSU could sneak into that conversation with a win here too. So really fun game. Huge weekend of college football. About 3 months ago, you would have said this weekend was one of the biggest weekends of college football that we've seen in years. We've had some losses kind of take away from that, but there's still some incredible matchups this weekend. Rutgers, Wisconsin looks really, really fun. We have, I can't even go through all of them, but it's a fun weekend of college football. Saturday is just jam-packed. There's a lot of good games, not even some of the lower-ranked teams. Then I think Army and Navy both play again this weekend. Both have electric offenses, so I'll probably have about 5 or 6 ads to my card. We'll see by the time we get there on Saturday, but that's what I got right now. Those 5.
Rock and roll, brother.
Rock and roll. All right. Well, that'll be it for this week. We'll also be doing our short form podcast like we do every week, about 15 minutes. So hop on in there if you're watching the live stream right now. Give us some love. But thank y'all. We'll see you next week. And remember, do not sleep on them dirty birds. Go Cards.
That's how we've won all year, team, right? Yes, you held them to 20 points, man. Yes, you gave us a chance at the end. I got 3 words for you. You like that? Yeah!